Hey guys, welcome to week 3 of our Scarlet and Violet Draft League. This week I'm up against Thomas. As you can see, the battle's already happened. This is kind of a post recording. We actually were in the same place when we had to do it, so we actually had a bunch of battles kind of recorded at the same time. So I'll be doing post comms on this one, which is pretty interesting. This is my team this week. We've got Gudra, Jam, we've got Manda, Hydrapple, Eggplant, the Clodsire, Only Child, the Mousehold. For our first time, we have two of our members to show up for the first time. We've got Poppy, the Tinkaton, and we've got Bloot, the Giraffe Rig. So I was happy to bring those guys first time. Thomas's team is pretty much what we expect. It's the same kind of six he's been bringing. That's kind of his thing he likes doing in this stuff. So if you're unfamiliar, which is Walking Wake, Blaziken, Rotom Wash, Araquanid, Brute Bonnet, and Yan Mega. I'm pretty much good with leading Clodsire because there's not much a lot of his team can do to Clodsire, and I'm looking to set up some hazards early. So that is the play. I am running Water Absorb on Clodsire this week because I figured, you know what, we're going to be able to sit in front of Walking Wake a lot easier. We're going to be able to sit in front of Rotom Wash indefinitely. Yeah, so it just seemed more useful. It didn't really seem like he was clicking a lot of setup moves, especially on something Clodsire could handle. So here comes Raid. So Raid's the Yan Mega. And I lead Clodsire, of course. There's Eggplant. I'm pretty much fine doing what I'm doing here. I kind of expect him to switch. So I just go for Spikes. He goes for a Bug Buzz. It does, like, nothing. But it does proc his Throat Spray. So that was interesting. I don't know if he was running Throat Spray the other weeks. Or if he was running Heavy Duty Boots. But I chose Spikes as the hazard because I figured this was going to be running Heavy Duty Boots. So I was like, I'll just run Spikes. It's fine. I'm mostly running them just to, it chunks off some damage, and also it can break the Sash Blaziken has, because he had a Sash on Blaziken the other weeks. So I'm like, alright, let me Toxic. He's just going for Air Slashes. And, I mean, I'm still a special wall, even if I don't have Unaware. So I might as well just do my thing as a special wall. He can't set up any more than he has, really, so I just go for Recover. Here comes another Air Slash. And we're lucky we didn't get flinched, so I guess it would have been lucky for him to flinch, because it's a 30% chance, so. But he has used it twice now. So we're able to break through and get that, which is pretty cool. If it didn't end up working out, I would have just switched to Gudra, so. Back at 210 HP. I'm not really sure what he wants to do. So I was like, you know what, let me just get into Gudra. See what we can do. So swap out. Here comes Gudra. Boom. Big Assault Vest. I've redone the EVs quite a bit, so we're working with some better stuff. So he clicks Sunny Day here. And then he takes some more damage from Toxic. So he's running low. So I'm like, okay, the sun's up. I can go for Flamethrower if he really wants to keep Yan Mega in, which he has the Throat Spray buff, so maybe he just wants to try to go for stuff. So I'm like, I'll go for Flamethrower. And it was a little obvious in retrospect that he's going to go into Julius. Actually, this is not obvious. So here is the big mushroom guy. We hit him with a fat Flamethrower. Now he does get a Photosynthesis boost, and I'm a little afraid of what exactly it is he's going to go for. So I think I do make a switch here, even though I am Sap Zipper. I was like, you know what, I don't want to take a crunch and be too low, because I'm going to need to eat stuff from Walking Wake as time goes on. So I figure, you know what? There's nothing this guy can do that I'm afraid of if I go into Manda. So I'm going to go into Manda. And I can get some Rocky Helmet damage off, too. Here's Hydrapple, whose lighting is really weird outside at nighttime. His like apple's like way darker looking than it should be. And I think I just go for Fickle Beam. Right? I think I do. Pretty sure I do. Yeah. I like look at his team. I'm like, I'm not afraid of anything. He has a close combat. Does a decent amount, but I'm Regenerator, so I pretty much can heal all that as soon as I switch out. Some Rocky Helm chip. Here's a Fickle Beam. Boom, there goes Brute Bonnet. So I think he did sack Brute Bonnet here in an attempt to be like, let me just clean switch into something that's going to matter this game. So we're going to see pretty much what you can expect to come on out. And that is the Walking Wake. So Walking Wake's here. Gets hit by some spikes, which is nice. Activates photosynthesis. He is faster now. So I'm thinking he could go for Draco. There's a chance he goes for Flamethrower also. But I'll just go into Tinkaton because I'm like, the risk reward, you know, is better. They're already down their Dark type, so the advantage is nice. And then he reads it, goes for Flamethrower in the sun. That's gonna do it. So Tinkaton unfortunately didn't get to do much. The sunlight is going to fade. And there goes the photosynthesis. Now I have the opportunity to kind of go into whatever it is I want right now. I kind of had the opportunity to go into Mousehold, admittedly. But I figured, you know what? He's clicking Flamethrowers. It's not in the sun anymore. It's not Stab. Let me just go into Clodsire. I can set up the rest of the spikes I need. I can go for Poison. But I figured he's just going to switch out as soon as he sees Clodsire. So I didn't want Toxic and just Toxic something that's not really worth Toxicking. So now I have to try to remember what he switched into. Because I know he switches. But there goes Walking Wake. He goes back into Yanmega. That's right. And that's part of the reason why I didn't click Toxic. Because I was like, he already has something that's poisoned out there. So what's the point in doing that? So when I could just set up the rest of my spikes. So he takes a little bit of damage. Which is nice for me. And I'm like, alright, let's... I'm not sure what it is he wants to do. I don't know if he just wants to go for Air Slash flinches or what. So I'm just going to set up spikes again. Here's Air Slash. No flinch. And we get our third layer of spikes up. So everything's taken a quarter of its health that touches the ground when it switches in. Which is great for me. Really great for me. And the Toxic's building up. So Yanmega's not long for this world. Now the only thing is I'm only running Earthquake as my attacking move. And he's already poisoned. So as far as things I can do to this Yanmega with Clodsire, all I can do is sit here and click Recover over and over. And I am miraculously not getting flinched by these Air Slashes. Although, wouldn't have been a big deal without that +1 special attack. So I think he's just letting this poor thing go. I think it dies to poison this turn. Oh, he's going for the Sunny Day. So I just go for the Recover to try to top myself off. And he barely lives on his own Toxic. And I'm like, well, it's actually good because it eats up a turn of Sun that he would have otherwise had to deal with. So I don't know if he was going to hard switch, and I didn't want to reveal Earthquake yet. So I went for Toxic, and he just went for another Air Slash because he was like, whatever, Yanmega's dead. So I'm at 196 HP. I'm like, that's not that bad. That's pretty close to full. It's like 90% or something. So I've got that going for me. The sun is out, so you know who's coming in next. Now he's not aware I'm Water Absorb. He is unaware I'm Water Absorb, which I am not unaware. But I assume that he's just going to click Draco, because I assume he knows that I'm Water Absorb. Because he just wants to go for the biggest blast he can. And I'm like, I can tank it. I know I can tank it. So he's already lost a lot of HP, so I just want to kind of get the Toxic on him and then just start stalling, really. Clodsire does so much into his team. So here comes the Draco. And I live it. Took 120 or so. Here's the Toxic. Then he loses half his special attack. So theoretically this next hit would do like 60 or so damage. And I get the Black Sludge recovery, which is definitely has kept me alive now. And I'm looking at the rest of his team and I'm like, do I wanna... I don't know if I want to risk clicking recover here and losing Clodsire. So in my brain, I'm like, it's at -2. I can go into Goodra. I am an Assault Vest Goodra. I should be fine. So I swap out. Here comes Jam. Jam is in. And here comes the Draco. And I eat it. I take less than half, which is rad. And now he's at so much less special attack. So it's like... I pretty much get a free move here. I just go for the Dragon Pulse. Because I'm like, oh, he's just going to let it go. Because it has to take all this toxic damage and has to switch back into spikes. It makes sense to me. And he withdraws it. Because he's like, I need to keep this Walking Wake for as long as possible. Into Rotom Wash he goes. So I'm like, alright, well, I really don't fear Rotom Wash either. As a Goodra. And the sunlight fades. And I'm like, well... here's my opportunity to give Clodsire back HP. So if he goes for Volt Switch, I block it. And if he goes for Hydro Pump, I get health back. So, this thing can't do anything to my Clodsire. The most it could do is like Willow me. Or shoot a Shadow Ball if he packed Shadow Ball. So. Jam comes back. Here comes good old Eggplant. So I'm back in. He does go for Volt Switch. And then we eat that. He gets a little leftovers recovery. I get a little bit of Black Sludge recovery. So I'm thinking he might go for Hydro Pump. He might just hard switch. So I'm just going to go for the recover. Just get myself back up to full. He goes up going for Hydro Pump. And this heals 25%? Yeah, heals somewhere around like 25%, which is crazy. That's a huge amount of health. That was like 59 health. So I just go back to full. And I'm like, okay, well, I think he switches here, was my thoughts. I already have all the spikes out. So I'm like, all right, he's going to switch. He's going to hard switch. So I could go for Toxic, but he might switch back into Walking Wake here, predicting that I'm going to Toxic him, so I'll go for Earthquake. So I go for Earthquake, he stays and burns me. Which sucks, but I think he was kind of like, I need to get Chip on this Clodsire however I can. It can't be poisoned, so I've got to burn it. So I whiff my Earthquake on the Levitate. Sucks, but it is what it is. So now I'm like, alright, I guess I'll go for Toxic, because maybe he wants to save Walking Wake for later, and he wants to use it to the best of his ability to try to sweep through what's left on the team at the time. Maybe. So, I try to go for good old Toxic, because I'm Poison type, it can't miss. Fun fact. Fun fact indeed. If you're Poison type, you can't miss Toxic. Is it you can't miss Toxic, or is it 100%? I think it's you can't miss it. So he switches. He ends up going back into Walking Wake. I'm like, ugh. My spikes have done so much damage to this thing. I have not used a single actual move on this thing. So he doesn't get poisoned, because he's already poisoned. And he takes a little bit of Toxic. Barely anything. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll Earthquake you. Because I was thinking I could recover to heal and Toxic stall him out, but it's going to take 2. I know it's going to take 2 at this point. Toxic procs. So I'm like, and you know what? Clodsire has beaten everything it needs to beat. Rotom Wash loses to Hydrapple. We've beaten Walking Wake. And I don't even know what else. Brute Bonnet's dead. Yanmega's dead. So this puts me 6-3, I believe. But Eggplant is low now. Now I could preserve Eggplant, but like I said, I was like, he's kind of done everything he needs to. And I don't want to waste opportunities to go for Toxic. Just like give him a turn. Especially because he sends out Blaziken here. And I'm like, I can handle him going for Swords Dance here. I'm pretty sure I'm still fine if he goes for Swords Dance. But I don't want to let him get away with it. So, risk reward, I was like, you know, I Earthquake him. If I lose Clodsire, it's not the end of the world, really. I'm doing plenty fine. He just goes for Flare Blitz. He's like, I need to take the opportunity to kill this Clodsire. Critical hit, I don't think it mattered. I think Blaziken does plenty of damage. So he takes some recoil. He gets a speed boost. I think I just go into... Oh, you know what? Yeah, I go into Blute. That's right, I go into Blute, because I was like, you know who Blute's here also to deal with Blaziken, as much as it was here also to deal with Walking Wake. I had a lot of stuff for Blaziken and Walking Wake. those were his strongest guys. And you'll see how that changes things later in this battle. So, I guess it's 5-3, because I lost Tinkaton, but now it's 4-3. So, he has Blaziken, Araquanid, and Rotom Wash left. Nothing's poisoned at this point. Nothing will be poisoned because I've lost Clodsire. So, I click Psychic. I'm like, it's free Psychic. You know, if he goes into Araquanid, it's whatever. He takes some damage. If he goes into Rotom Wash, he takes some damage. There's Freya. Here comes Araquanid. Takes the Spikes damage. And I know this thing has like 120 special defense. Yeah, so it eats that. I don't have a great switch in, I realize. So I'm kind of like, I can go for Wish and try to heal up my Goodra? My thought? Oh yeah, I'm rocking Rain Dance on my Mousehold to turn off the sun. If it came up. It will no longer come up because all of his sun abusers are dead. Besides Blaziken, because he's a fire type. But he's going to pop the Terra on Araquanid. I don't have one of my Terra captains this week, so interesting stuff. Terra Fairy, as per the usual. He roars his big pink roar. So I go for my Wish. Ba-doo. He goes for Leech Life. That does a ton of damage to me. And he heals up a lot. Now, was the best choice to do what I just do in this moment? Not at all. I should have just kept Psychicking or just let Girafarig die, to be honest. But I go into Goodra because I'm like, I can get this Wish proc off. And he goes for his Leech Life, and it kills me. So, oh, crit. I don't know if that crit mattered. I never calced it. But it did suck. It certainly sucked. So he's at full, and I'm like, oh, you know, I really don't have anything to deal with this. So I go into Mousehold, and I'm like, this is probably the best thing I can do, is just go for old Pop Bomb and see what happens. Because I'm like, this is probably the most damage I can do. So boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What a Pokemon. And that just takes him out. It just straight up. I never really ran the population bomb calcs. I was just like, if I need it, it outspeeds a couple specific things, and then it can finish up. But I was like, I don't know if this kills from full. Ran the calcs, does like 108 to 120 something %. It's crazy. So here comes Blaziken. And I was like, I think I outspeed Blaziken, because Blaziken's not actually that fast on its own. It's because it has speed boost. It gets there. So I'm like, I mean, if he has protect instead of sword stance or something, he's clicking it now, and then he didn't. So I just pop bomb and I kill it. So Mousehold's insane. Mousehold's so good. What a crazy Pokemon. A bunch of little mice. So he's down to just Rotom Wash, and Rotom Wash cannot defeat Hydrapple on its own. It simply cannot. Looking at the HP it's at, I didn't know the calcs. I didn't know if it was a full defensive Rotom or not, so I was like, I'm just going to go into Hydrapple because I want to preserve my 3-0, because I've already kind of squandered. Every other one of my Pokemon feigning this battle was my fault, kind of thing. So I'm just going to go into Hydrapple and make sure that I don't mess up and lose my Mousehold for no reason. Even though I know I'm going to win, I want to preserve the differential. So I go into Hydrapple. I go for Giga Drain. This is going to do a lot. All he can do is Will-O-Wisp. He's got Will-O-Wisp, Sunny Day. I'm pretty sure it's Sunny Day. Volt Switch and Hydro Pump. So Giga Drain, go right back up to full HP. I can Giga Drain again, but I think I just go to try to see if I can get the Fickle Beam animation to play. So, but yeah, that pretty much wraps up this week's battle. Thank you guys so much for watching. So that puts us, the Best Pals Club, at 3-0. Our good friends here, the Chimphouse, are at 2-1, and they'll be joining me on commentary for the other battles this week. If you haven't watched them already, please check them out. Yeah, this was a pretty fun battle. Definitely a lot of defensive prep, and that's definitely what I've been feeling with my team so far. Is it's very defensive. Besides Mousehold. Mousehold can kind of slash it up, but Cloudsire's been super good. Mousehold's been super good. Dugonger's done a couple things. And I'm really learning how to use Goodra well, because I do like Goodra, but I have not been doing Goodra justice, that's for sure. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please check out the other battles. I'll see ya.